Welcome to Bubble Talk. Each week we take on a modern city and clean out the dirt around social and economic issues. Here's what's poppin' this week on Bubble Talk. It's the city of Atlanta and the beautiful Beltline. This hip walking loop is under construction and already bringing nature appreciation and community development to a whole new level. But what kind of issues lie under that clean sidewalk? Find out this week on Bubble Talk.
Brought to you by 3 Georgia Tech students in English 1102, Back to the Future with Dr. McKenna Rose.
Hi everyone, you're here with Asha Bandarkar,
Mohan Dada,
And I'm Nicholas Brophy.
Today we're talking about the Beltline, one of Atlanta's most well-known and so far successful urban development programs. But we need to clean up its act here on Bubble Talk. Is the Beltline taking off more than it can chew? Set to be completed in 2030, it's a plan to create a 22-mile loop of modern streetcar, 33 miles of multi-use trail, and over 2,000 acres of green space, which seems almost too good to be true. Currently, the Beltline is composed of 5 trails and 7 parks. The Beltline also markets itself as a solution to affordable housing, remediating brownfields, and other environmental damages, as well as reviving Atlanta's vibrant culture and economy. All in all, this master's thesis turned vision for the future is one of the largest and most ambitious integrated approaches to urban and social development. Beltline is trying
to leverage about $20 billion of economic development in the city and developing about 5,600 units of affordable housing, as well as, I think, 30,000 jobs is our target.
Currently, the Beltline is managed by the Atlanta Beltline Incorporated, who are involved in all aspects of the project, from management to implementation, coordinating with both the public and private sector. The Atlanta Beltline Partnership focuses on soliciting investment, engaging the public, and providing opportunities for economic growth and affordable housing. While investigating the Beltline, we were surprised that the Beltline even had initiatives for social development, because Beltline Incorporated seems to have so much more influence over the Beltline project. In 2018, Beltline Incorporated sent out a survey to Atlanta's residents to gauge public perception of the Beltline. While people view the Beltline favorably in terms of the quality of infrastructure, it is viewed unfavorably in terms of speed and transit development, and most importantly, affordable housing. Overall, only 25% of residents are satisfied with the steps the Beltline is taking towards affordable housing, and 37% feel that the Beltline is displacing low-income members of the community. Finally, only 14% of people associated affordable housing with the Beltline, while most people focused on the Beltline's role in community infrastructure. What I want to see accomplished today is a valid critique of the Beltline's promises for social development and its lacking execution of its goals. Now, I leave you with a question. Is the Beltline doing what it has proposed, and how should it change its vision for the future?
But is Beltline up to the challenge of maintaining these goals? Welcome to Satan's Corner, where we play devil's advocate. Overall, though the Beltline makes an attempt to bring together a sense of community, the scope of its ambitions is beyond that which is reasonable for a mere sidewalk to take on. Even if this was not the case, the public recognizes Beltline as a community infrastructure improvement rather than a means of social development. It is my belief that a group outside of the construction of this infrastructure to take on the task of utilizing Beltline and other developments in order to achieve the goals that have been set. This is more valid than forcing the community building to only one segment of improvement. Else Beltline needs to take on this responsibility and recreate its public perception separate from its construction. According to the Beltline,
It's very multidisciplinary, but it's very focused on delivering a product, and that product is 22 miles of transit, 33 miles of trail, 1,300 acres of green space.
the only possible solutions is either Beltline needs to improve its public relations or another group needs to take on that task, and Beltline needs to stay in the infrastructure sector as it already has succeeded so far.
So we have established some problems with Beltline and its goals with social development. But how can we fix those problems? One would be to refocus Beltline's goal itself. Right now, Beltline is becoming more gentrified. The Beltline needs to be more focused on being less gentrified and trying to help the lower class. One big thing would be to once again drive down the cost of living in the Beltline instead of allowing it to increase. You could accomplish this by building more cheaper housing and disallowing restaurants and utilities for the middle class. Also, the Beltline right now is utilizing a 25-year mobility plan that is being used to increase the community infrastructure. Use this money solely on social development because increasing the community infrastructure is not helping to improve social development. The other solution is to let other organizations be in charge of social development and letting Beltline only be in charge of community infrastructure. Organizations that have personal connections should be assigned for improving social development. Similarly, governments can also create organizations solely focused on social development as well.
Overall, the Beltline is doing its part to connect Atlanta, both literally and figuratively, through its large infrastructure plan and by engaging the public. However, as residents of Atlanta ourselves, we ask them to realign their vision, to make it more focused, either on social development or infrastructure, as the problems at hand are beyond the scope of what the Beltline can fix. Through this, we hope Atlanta becomes a better city for its current residents and for its residents in the future.
Thank you for joining us here on Bubble Talk. Float with us next week as we pop over to Bentonville, Arkansas, where we discuss Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. That's everything for this week, and as always, keep on popping.